Today's patio chat is being brought to you locally by Westridge Furniture in Delphus. See it all at your finer outdoor furniture store.
Well, we're going to talk more about the Israel and Hamas conflict, and joining us today, he is recently retired. Congratulations, Dr. Perry Bush, professor of history and religion at Bluffton University, and thanks for coming today.
It's always good to be with you, Holly, especially on a beautiful spring day.
It's very nice out here, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not very nice over there in the Middle East. I mean, this Hamas-Israel conflict war continues, and it seems like almost every day something new happens with this.
Well, breaking news right now. I just was reading before I came on that the International Court of Justice has now agreed to ask Israel to stop its current invasion of Rafah. It's already on the verge of charging Israel with genocide. Those charges are now being considered. Earlier this week, the International Criminal Court, has the chief prosecutor, Karim Khan, for the International Criminal Court, has charged Israel and Hamas, both of them, with war crimes, and both, of course, got bitterly angry, accused each how the implied moral equivalence between them and the other side was just an outrage to both. And meanwhile, the suffering, Holly, just continues in Gaza.
Right.
1 million people fled from northern Gaza to the Rafah area. But now, given Israel's military strikes there, Joe Biden talked several weeks ago about Israel's engaged in indiscriminate bombing. Those were his words. Now, 800,000 have fled, but still the military campaign is going on. Israel's convinced that Hamas has secret tunnels underneath the Rafah area, and so that's their rationale for continuing the fighting. But they closed the border crossing with Egypt 2 weeks ago. That's just accelerating the famine-like conditions. I remember being on this program 2 months ago talking about the horrific conditions in Gaza, and they were talking at that point about maybe 24,000 dead. Now the current estimates are 35,000 dead, half of them children. And so no wonder the International Criminal Court is exerting itself. This is all symbolic.
I was just going to say, what does that mean in the end? Because when I read stories about it, it just said, well, it's really not going to change anything. Israel's not going to, do a ceasefire in that area, and things are going to continue. So why do the courts do this? Well,
in part, I think it's increasing. Of course, I'm getting a lot of this data from good reporting from the New York Times. It's increasing the sense of international isolation in Israel. I mean, just this last week, Norway, Spain, and Ireland have all agreed to recognize a Palestinian state. Israel's responding with utter defiance of the global consensus, and apparently that's strengthening Benjamin Netanyahu's hand at home. Most Israelis are more uptight over the 100 or so Israeli hostages left in Hamas's hands than they are over, apparently the polls show, the 35,000 or so dead there. But it is increasing Israel's sense of isolation, and plays well to Netanyahu's domestic political considerations. But this is simply going to increase Israel's sense that it's increasing number of nations are regarding it as just engaging in horrific conduct in Gaza.
Right, yeah. We mentioned the famine and the people dying. The UN also today said, hey, give them more support and let them in more. But, I mean, it seems like Israel's been told, let the humanitarian aids in, but it's really not happening.
The United States, Biden promised in a State of the Union address we would build a port off Gaza, and they have built a port, temporary port. But Israel is subjecting those trucks to such extreme inspections, according to some reporting. Israel's denying all this, of course, and there are a number of ways of reading it. But the aid is not getting through, and just the conditions that we're hearing on the ground, Holly, in Gaza are heartbreaking. The famine is increasing. The number of people being operated on without anesthesia. Just god-awful conditions.
I mean, is it possible? Is there an end to this? I mean, can Israel, get Hamas out and then let all go? I mean, we've already been this long, and it doesn't seem to be working. Do we need to change the strategy?
It's hard to see how this ends. I mean, right now, the CIA director, William Burns, is heading there to try to work out some kind of a ceasefire. Neither Israel nor Hamas seems terribly interested in making the kind of concessions that a ceasefire would make possible. Maybe the way to stop the killing, Holly, is to simply stop the killing.
Yeah.
But that seems, I guess, simplistic to many people involved. Others of us look on from the outside and shake our heads and are horrified at what's going on.
Right, yeah. We'll see maybe if this new UN court thing does anything. Thank you very much, Perry, for coming today.
Always good to be with you, Holly.
All right, don't go away. We have medical news next.